Welcome to the Got Invention Show. I'm your host, Brian Freed, and today our guest is Gene Keough. He is the inventor of the drill paddle. Welcome to the show, Gene.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Gene, I see behind you a little bit about what we're going to be talking today, but why don't we first start off by telling us who you are and where you're from?
I'm Gene Keough. I'm from Southern Oregon. Um, I created this product because I was stuck out in the middle of a lake, and I thought there had to be a better idea, and that's it. It turned out to be a pretty big item, pretty big seller.
So you were out in the water, you were on your paddle boat, and you got stuck, and there it goes. I need to find a better way to be able to save myself here and not get stuck in the water. So you came up with a product called Drill Paddle.
Correct.
Great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? What does it actually do?
Well, it's a device that you can hook to your drill. Everybody has a drill, it seems like, and it turns the propeller and moves you along in the water.
Wow. So you're saying that you take a regular drill and you put your attachment onto it, and you can save yourself from when you're stuck in the water to be able to get to where you need to go to save yourself.
Absolutely correct. And it's used on various types of crafts, kayaks, pontoons. It's just a real general item that can be used by many types of craft.
And I see you came up with a interesting slogan there. Don't be up a creek without a drill paddle.
That's correct. Yes. Very cool. Yeah. I'm glad you noticed that. That was something we did when we were doing trade shows, and we put that banner out, as we were showing the product. And so that was fun and interesting to do for a weekend.
Great. Well, Gene, let's start off by showing the audience your product. So let's take a look here. And this is kind of the way that it happens, right? Your motor won't start is what it's titled. So let's take a look and see what it's about.
It shows, me throwing my arms up. Oh, motor won't start. And putting the drill paddle, hooking the drill up, putting it in the water, and it pushes the boat along really nice. Gets you back to shore. And basically that's kind of the concept. I had a big boat with a big motor in it, and it ended up quitting on me, and I had to get the oars out and start paddling back, and I thought, God, there has to be a better way to do this. And it is. I've done I had to do some research, do some patent searches to make sure that this was something that hadn't already been patented. And I was lucky it hadn't been. So, yeah, that's the deal. It's pretty versatile.
And if I pause it right there, I actually see the drill.
Right.
Very interesting.
I want to navigate a little bit through the journey. So I want to say that I come from an engineering and a machinist background, and my grandfather kind of got me going as a kid. He was a mechanical engineer at a large mill, a lumber mill here in Oregon, and he created a lot of machinery and all kinds of devices for the lumber mill. And it happened when I was a small child, and I was looking through a magazine, and I saw a product in that magazine that I'd seen in my grandfather's garage. And I asked him, well, why is this here and somebody else selling it? And he said, well, let me check, Gene, with my patent attorney, and if I can find out more, if there's money involved, you get some of it. Well, I thought, this is great, awesome. Well, it turned out that it had expired. The patent had expired. And Um, so that stirred up stuff though. And ever since I was a child, I thought, well, Grandpa, he created a lot of great things and a lot of great machines. And then basically got his name on the patent and $1 for the patent, and the company paid for everything, and it gave him a nice benefit program and a nice wage because he was an engineer. But he never really got anything out there. And I thought, I'm gonna try that. Well, I know now why he did that, Brian, because it's a very complicated road to go down from inception to actual product on the market. He did it the easy way, had great ideas, and had a company take care of it for him. Whereas us as inventors, it's a road, as most of your inventors say. It's quite a road with lots of bumps, and I managed to get through most of those bumps and got the product on the market. I'm a prototyper. I love prototyping. And one of the things I did to begin with this product, first I got, a provisional and had a year to decide what I was going to do. I decided to make prototypes, and I made a bunch of prototypes and put a few of them on eBay and started selling them. And I thought, wow, this is maybe something. So I moved forward with the patent process. I got 4 patents on it, and it just kind of flowed from there. And then I found a great manufacturer. But to back it up a little bit, I made 1,000 of them in my garage with my daughter and my wife, and we're all making a piece here and putting a piece together there, and throwing them out there, and people were just buying them left and right.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah.
So, Gene, when you first had that problem on the water, being and having that inventor-ish type of mind, what was the first thing that you did when you did have that problem and you said, there is a problem here, I want to fix it? What did you do first, Gene?
Meaning go home and
like you said, you know what? I have 2 paddles on the side of the boat. I could simply just take the paddles off and get my way back to shore. But what did you do? What made you come up with having a drill to be able to accommodate getting you back to shore?
That's a very good question, Brian, because my first prototype was to put it on a weed eater motor, right? And so I actually built a prototype to fit on your standard motor that you have to trim your bushes with. And I looked it up and did some research on patent and trademark, and it had been patented.
So a weed trimmer motor,
right,
to be able to get you back for a boat to get you back to shore already existed.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I went a little bit further in the search to see that nobody had done what I have currently on the market. So I went down that road and went to trade shows. I did a bunch of other things.
But before that, Gene, before that though, when you came up with the idea, so the weed trimmer was not an option. What made you get to the drill?
It just seemed it was there, and it seemed like, well, I hardly use these things. Why don't I try it with a drill? And it just worked great, and it kind of went from that point. Yeah.
Okay. So you did the drill and you said, okay, there was a weed trimmer. Now I have a drill. And then you went to compare what other intellectual property was out there, other patents, and see if this was something that was patentable. So how did you go about figuring out that part where you needed to compare and to know that you can move forward with this?
Well, of course, you have to, do a patent search. And I did reach out to a patent attorney, a great guy that I've worked with now for many years. He helped me with that process, and then move forward from the non, or from the provisional to the non,
Okay.
and yeah.
So
So
this wasn't that complicated for you because you being an engineer, you loving to make prototypes. So you have the drill. Now you need the paddle. So what did you do there to figure out how to make the drill and the paddle match to make it work?
oh, like I said, it's kind of interesting that uh, drills were with us, and they were there, and I have plenty of them in my shop, and I put the two together. It's like the chocolate and the peanut butter situation, kind of, yeah, and that's how
Okay.
that worked.
So it wasn't too complicated for you. So you got through that part. And look, a lot of times there's certain parts of going through the invention process that you can be more skilled or you can have a connection more than some other people to just get through those steps. And you happen to get through those steps. So now you have a good working prototype and you started to sell the prototypes on eBay and you said, wow, I think I got something here. It seemed
Yes.
like people were looking up and
Yeah.
finding this. How did you make people on eBay know that drill paddle even existed?
That's interesting because I really did no advertising. It just was kind of, I think, Brian, a word of mouth situation where they seen it maybe on the eBay, bought one, they took it out, somebody else saw them, and where'd you get that? And basically that's it. The kind of, I'm assuming, because it's just taken off, and I get more and more people like that. One of my bucket list situations were to see one that I sold, and I have, and that's one of the greatest accomplishments to me, is seeing one out there, somebody else is using it. So
Good stuff. Let's pull up the next one. You said drill paddle hits Japan. So let's watch this one and maybe you can explain to us what this is about.
yeah, this was fun. This was a fella reached out to me off of eBay, and he says, "Hey, we got this game show in Japan. It's called Inventor Boy, and what we want to do is feature your product on it." And how it worked was they put these two couples, and they were celebrities in Japan, out on this island, and they said, "You need to get to the other island uh, any way you can. We'll let you have a few products. You got to figure out how to do it." And they featured this product, and it's just so fun and animated that they had done that, and it basically it helped these girls get to their destination, and it was just a fun thing to do. And it was actually my prototypes. They weren't actually manufactured yet, except by me. When I was manufacturing these, Brian, I was sourcing everything in my town. Like I'd go to a hardware store and I'd get the PVC. I'd go to the dollar store and get these noodles. I'd go to a sportsman's store and get the props. I'd go to a metal place and get the shafts. And I'd just sit and I'd put, me and the family would put all these things together. And it just, it turned out to be a real popular item.
So Gene, when you're going through and you're buying all these pieces and parts from all over the place, was there a point, because they were selling really well and they're still selling really well on eBay, was there a point where you said, I better consider manufacturing this because maybe all these things that I'm putting together are making the price of the product a little too high, or maybe it's a little too much for me to source, where maybe one part is out of stock, or maybe it's just my time to put it all together. What was there, or is there a point where you're going to say, you know what, I better consider manufacturing this?
Yes, absolutely, Brian. And we found a great manufacturer, of course, in China, and he is just the most wonderful guy. He really tries really hard to uh, please and produce the product exactly. In fact, I have to be honest with you. He produces a better product than I was making in my shop, and it's cheaper, and so it afforded me a way to make a profit, more of a profit than I had before. And so he can do relatively smaller runs, and I usually have him send me a container, a 40-foot container, sometimes two, sometimes three a year, because I sell that many. I sell out every year on Walmart. So
That's amazing. Congratulations on your success so far, Gene. So now that you have that relief of not having to make them yourself and you're mass producing them, there's not that much that you need to do except to be able to manage the inventory and also keep an eye on the sales. So maybe tell us about that experience, because you mentioned earlier you're selling 1,000. How many of them are you selling or have you sold?
I've sold 20,000 of them in the last 4 years. So I sell sometimes up to 5,000 a year. And I'm looking to grow larger. So yeah, that's with that, it takes a lot of time, a lot of resources to get larger.
You have one more video here, Gene.
This is how it operates. I just did this. It was what do you call those cameras you put on your head, and I was just
The
showing
GoPro.
how it's used. Yeah, and how you hook it to the drill, and how it pushes the boat, and how it really moves the boat along quite a bit. I've had customers were pretty surprised by how it almost planes the boat out with the drill, and so I have a lot of very satisfied customers with this product. Yeah, very cool. I'm glad you showed that.
For the most part, there are people that have drills out there and they do have paddles on the boat, but all they have to do is purchase your drill paddle attachment, take their drill. You're not selling it together with a drill, they're bringing their own drill. Make sure that your
Right.
drill is powered up and go out on the
Yes.
water and have fun. And I mean, in a way, Gene, it's almost a prevention type of product, right? Because you're going out in the water expecting your motor to be fine, and you
Right.
just want to have that backup just in case. So you want to make sure that it's on the boat before you go.
Right. Right. And you're right about, usually I'll take two, or anybody will take two batteries. It'll get you out about a mile or two in the water, and so if you start to run out of a juice, you just swap batteries and head back if that's what you want to do. But it's also something that you don't want to run full on all the time. You want to cycle it a little bit once you get going. It's kind of like paddling, only you're using your drill, and it works
Yeah.
out well. Again, lots of satisfied customers, constantly wanting my product, and it's exciting that it's I've had that success.
Gene, you're at a point now where you're selling, you have mass production, everything seems to be in order for you. What's the next step, and what does it look like for Drill Paddle for the future?
I'm glad you asked that, because now I'm going to introduce a new product. So the drill paddle, as you can see in the background here, I have a couple with header cards on them. Those are 4 foot. They're just 4 foot, nothing fancy. Well, this is the newest line that I should be coming out with this spring. Let me get it in front of the camera. It
Okay. Yep.
actually expands. So it's smaller. It's not 4 foot, it's like 2 foot. And then after, say, it's easier to carry, easier to have in your boat or wherever, and then you want to use it, you just flick it out, put your drill on it, and go. It's bigger, better, faster, stronger. And so I'm hoping to introduce this product line this next spring and summer, because those are my busiest months. I do most of my selling in the spring and summer months.
You're selling on Amazon and eBay. Are there any other
Amazon,
places?
Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com. Uh, I think we sold a few on Pinterest and whatnot, but essentially my strong points are Walmart and Amazon.
Look at you, Gene. You're an engineer, and now all of a sudden you invented a product, and now you're selling it. Did you ever
Yeah.
think that it would come to this?
I didn't. I really didn't. It's exciting, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But you do have to go. It's not as easy. Like I said earlier, it's not as easy as just working for a company and doing the same thing. It's a tough road, but it's well worth it.
And look, the I know from having products in the market and people using it, that's the greatest feeling, right, Gene? You came up with something and people are using it for the same reason that you came up with it, and it seems like
Exactly.
everybody's in just it's great. It's almost like a safety net for when you're out in the water to know that you have this just in case to
Yes.
get you and get you there quicker than paddling.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I actually had people with some disabilities just email me how wonderful it is, because, like an older gentleman, that his legs weren't working so great, and he liked to get out on the fishing tube, and he couldn't really paddle, and this thing has got him out there fishing. Things like that. It just makes you feel great inside.
Gene, you've gone through this and you've had some great levels of success, and we wish you all the best for much more ahead, and especially with your new version. Look, it seems like you hit all the right spots to get to where you are today. You went through, you had things that you did on your own and you figured out, and then you hired professionals to get you through things that you weren't 100% sure about, and
Yeah.
that's where you are today. So really, congratulations on your success so far.
Thank
Now,
you.
there's many people that are watching and listening and saying, wow, look at this guy. He was an engineer, came up with this idea. I mean, a drill that's used to paddle your boat when you get stuck. I have an idea. I'm doing things. So maybe I'm coming up with this great idea. Maybe I've had one in the past. I'm coming up with one in the future. If you could just share some words of wisdom to the community out there and to the inventors and future inventors, what is it that you can give us a good piece of advice to leave us with, Gene?
Absolutely, and it's a lot. It's just due diligence. The patent office has a great program with the provisional, and that kind of gives you kind of have to have your ducks in a row before you do that, to see where you're at and if it's going to be something that you can sell, and then move forward with that. But I think more than anything, it's kind of the dream, and just follow your heart, follow your mind and the dream, and you'll do great. And it's just believing in yourself, I think, and I think a lot of us do. a lot of us get frustrated, and that's the hard part because you want to give up, but you just need to keep powering through. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. It's discouraging, but keep it up. Keep trying, you know.
It's awesome, Gene. Tell us where to find your drill paddle. How can we buy one?
www.drillpaddle.com. You can find it on eBay, Amazon, and Walmart. Right now, we're sold out of Walmart. So Amazon is the big ticket right now.
And how much is it?
It's $52 with $16 shipping on Amazon. And again, that's the only, unfortunately, we're sold out at Walmart. We hope to get that restocked pretty soon. They're a lot cheaper there. They're $52 with free shipping because that's what Walmart is.
And the new version that you have, when is that expected to come out?
I expect that to be this spring and summer, and it's going to be a little bit more, but not a whole lot more because, you know, it's a little more engineering involved. So
great. Gene, congratulations on your success so far. I know that there's plenty ahead, and I'm sure you're excited about your new version coming out. So we will keep an eye on you, and we know that you have our backs when we're out in the water, that you have a way for us to make sure that we get to shore. So thank you so much, Gene Keough. Drillpaddle.com is his website. Gene, until next time, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you. All right. So look, you can come up with an idea at any time. You got to be able to capture it when it happens and then figure out what to do next. So hopefully Gene's information and his story will inspire you. And we wish all of you the best with your inventions. Keep moving forward with your big ideas. Till next time, we'll see you again from Got Invention Show.